Will, this is your realm. This is your atmosphere, the NBA.
My favorite sport, NBA.
Let's talk about the NBA All-Star roster, right? We're talking about today, the reserves just came out. Will, which players were your biggest snubs?
So my top 3 snubs, because I mean, look, the reality is with the All-Star is there's going to be players that I thought deserved it that aren't going to make it. So I just accept that. And as long as there's not like huge snubs, which I do think there are a couple this year, then I don't really have a big issue. Because at the end of the day, like after like the next 2 days, like nobody's going to care anymore. So it's like these next couple days, people are just going to have a list of like 50 people, with who got snubbed from the All-Star game, when really it's like 1 or 2 guys. Those 1 or 2 guys, I think Trae Young for 1, and Devin Booker 2. I think Chris Middleton would probably be my 3. Chris Middleton, I think he's made it, but I don't think it's a crime that he's not on there because he hasn't played all that great. He hasn't played as well as he was before. His last few weeks have been bad. The Bucks haven't been great, and Middleton hasn't really stepped up. But I still think he deserved the All-Star because his whole season so far has been really good. But Trae Young absolutely deserved it. Ben Simmons, outside of the month of February, Ben Simmons has not played like an All-Star at all. He has not been very good. His defense is still elite. I give him that. And this month he's been playing great. I love how he's been playing this month. But when we're talking about All-Star, we're talking about from the beginning of the season till now. Ben Simmons has not been a consistent All-Star at all. And Trae Young has. Trae Young had a little bit of a rough patch for like a week or 2, but he's been excellent. He's been one of the best playmakers in the league. His scoring volume has been still really well, and he's been a great 3-point shooter. And his offense just more than outweighs his defensive liability. So Trae Young absolutely deserves to be an All-Star. In the West, Devin Booker continues to just get disrespected by, I guess, the media, the coaches, the people who are voting for this. I don't really understand it. Devin Booker, I think, deserved to get one of those wild card spots. I think him and Chris Paul, frankly, deserve to make it. So Devin Booker, Trae Young, absolutely deserved an All-Star spot. Those are legitimate snubs. Everyone else is borderline for me.
Yeah, and for me, you talked about Ben Simmons, right? And that's my biggest issue. The past 2 years, the whole debate, Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons. It was never a debate in my eyes.
I will admit this. I wrote an article like months ago arguing why Ben Simmons was more valuable than Embiid, and I was completely dead wrong. That was like one of my coldest takes. That was a cold take. I've never written that.
And that's perfectly fine, but there's still people attempting to defend Ben Simmons right now after the season Joel Embiid's had. Joel Embiid right now is the MVP frontrunner besides LeBron James, obviously, but this team does not go around Ben Simmons. This team does not revolve around Ben Simmons. Their offense is not initiated by Ben Simmons. It's initiated by Joel Embiid. And that's the biggest thing. He is not an all-star. He has not played like an all-star, like Will said. And that's the bottom line. Their team is a top 3 team in the East because of Joel Embiid, not because of Ben Simmons.
Yeah, and I honestly think that's why Ben Simmons got in, is because his team's the number 1 seed in the East.
That's exactly
mainly because of Embiid, not Simmons. So I think that's why the coaches gave it to him, because the coaches vote for the reserves. And I think they gave it to him because his team's playing well. Trae Young's team's not playing all that well, but Trae Young's the best player on his team. Ben Simmons has played like the second or even third. Like Tobias Harris has had a really good season. Earlier in the year, Tobias Harris was kind of playing better than Ben Simmons. Like he's been the second or third option. And it just hasn't been consistent enough for me.
So, Jake, Max, do you guys have any other snubs? If not, Devin Booker, Trae Young, obviously the 2 biggest names.
I mean, I would say Bam, but I'm not surprised why he didn't get picked, because the Heat are kind of not doing great. But I mean, Bam, I don't think Bam got any worse from last season. I think if anything got better shooting the ball, but that's it.
Yeah, I don't really pay attention to All-Star voting because I don't think it matters. It's always dumb. I think Devin Booker's a top 15 player in the league, and like this whole thing with everyone being on his side about how he never makes the All-Star team, I agree with, because he's literally a very elite player in this game, and he just doesn't get respected. And for the first time, his team is like really, really good and really fun to watch, and he's clearly the best player on his team, and he doesn't get the recognition. Like I love my man Devin Booker. Guys, I think he's a top 15 player in the league. I love the guy.
Yeah, he's approaching that. And I mean, earlier in the season, Booker was kind of struggling, but he's picked it. He's just been excellent. This whole month. Bam absolutely being a snub. I don't know. To me, there was 4 guys who were super close, and that's Vucevic, who got in, Sabonis, Randall, and Bam. And it's like they were going to pick 2 of those 4 guys. They picked not Sabonis. They picked Randall and Vucevic. Randall, I agree with. Vucevic, I probably would have given it to Bam. I mean, Bam's just way better defense. He's one of the best defensive players in the league, and his offense has actually taken like a step up from what it was last season. So I would have given Bam over Vucevic.
So yeah.